Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me once again Dysco Magal. Have you been, Dysco?
I've been pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Good to hear.
How are you?
I'm doing great. And so what have you been up to lately?
Honestly, man, my stuff is pretty much I'm always studying something new, trying to widen my practice, coming up with new rites, meditations, working out. Like I have a structure of the day, and I try to follow it pretty diligently. So my stuff doesn't change very much, besides like my day-to-day practices. I pretty much do the same thing, except for I grow spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff I know that spiritually takes consistency and devotion. So pretty much it's what I do, And so every once in a while the spirits will give me something to work with, to grow, and so that's what I do, man. I have a Patreon. I don't know if I mentioned that last time if I had one, but I make videos here and there to try to help people, but not make things too one-sided. Try to make the information able to digestible enough for anyone to be able to utilize it. So those are the other things that I do, to try to. I have my certain way of thinking, but I know everybody's isn't the same. So I try to, accommodate that in what I share as far as spiritually with everybody else,
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why some people like to gravitate towards your material is because unlike a lot of other stuff that's out there that's just rehash and it's the same thing retold, you come out with a lot of new material that's very innovative. And I think that's what draws people in.
Right on.
But I was checking out one of your videos, and you had mentioned about everybody having a personal watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that they're actually aspects of ourselves, or what people call a daemon. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you my experience. It was very interesting. It's been a while since I remember that very first experience, but I was meditating and I went into a place where I saw this entity that was like me, but it wasn't like me now. It was like dressed like an old man, but it was like kind of younger looking. It was almost like a little kid and an old man, almost like Benjamin Button disease looking kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? From that movie. And so I was like, okay, well, what is this? At first I was like, what is this thing? Why are you here? What, like I thought I was going to have to fight it or whatever, but then when I approached it and started speaking with it, it didn't really talk to me, but it showed me things. And when it basically led me to what it was showing me was that, it was like an aspect of myself that was constantly watching myself. So it wasn't like restricted by time or anything like that. And it was just always around. So you can connect with it actually, basically. And okay, so I asked it a question, like, to show me instances of that spot that I was in. And it showed me memories that I had completely forgotten about just immediately. I just knew what they were, And then it started to ring true. Like I asked certain things to it because it was like, I remember times when I had something like somebody was watching me when I was growing up. Like I always felt like somebody was kind of watching me, not like in a paranoid kind of way, but like I always felt that something was watching me. And I would ask certain times it would say yes, and sometimes it was no. But basically what it does is like it can share that information with you and share aspects of yourself that maybe you don't see living the experience, but it can show you through its own eyes. It also told me it doesn't really interfere with anything. It doesn't like try to correct anything that you do, anything like that. So yeah, it's like a personal like daemon, but it doesn't actually do anything except for collect information. And that's all that I got at that point. And so as of now, because I really don't know at the phase that I'm at spiritually, what that would be besides using it in rites. You know what I'm saying? I have been able to connect with it with other people's personal watchers, and they all look kind of the same. They all like have like I had one woman that I connected with, her personal watcher had like a little girl dress on, and she was older, and it was like they all have like that kind of weird way that they dress. I don't know if that's to symbolize the agelessness or whatever, but it was very interesting. And so I asked that entity if we actually beat if we figured out the situation that she was having, and it said yes, and I asked it how, and it was able to show me how we overcame that situation, and then I was able to utilize that method in working with the client. So it's very good with people like that, you know. So if you connect with it, you know, like, and you having issues, you can actually even ask it, you know, how you can help, how it can help you. How did you get through it? Because it has connections through, like, time is not something that it's it's how do I say, like arrested to, like, it's not stuck in time. It's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Now, you actually have a right on your Patreon where you can teach people how to connect with the Watcher. And so, what would you say are many benefits of connecting with the Watcher?
As far as connecting with the Watcher, I mean, like I said, there's a, if you're having an issue with something, and you know, like, you're just kind of like stuck, you don't know how to figure it out. And the Watcher can actually help and guide you to be able to figure those things out, because it has the answers already. Like what you did, what you know, all the stuff that you went through in order to do it. Um, I would say that unless it's something you have to go through, like emotionally, you know, because we have to go through our turmoils and things like that, it can definitely show you and help you work through that. It can help you with memories that maybe you've forgotten, like, I mean, something silly, like if you left your keys somewhere, you know what I'm saying? I would just stuff like that. I would
Okay.
say kind of maybe to stay away from that part, because as far as the keys, because, you know, I don't know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
You also did a video recently where you speak about focus, and
Yeah.
as you know, as magicians, focus is very
Hmm.
important. And you spoke about focusing on a ball or a dot, um, and then you talked about focusing on a candle flame. Now, at one point, you had mentioned that you can use a candle flame to help developing astral travel.
Hmm.
Can you explain a little bit on how that works?
Okay. Well, so a lot of the things that I get whenever I'm actually in meditation, like spirits will lead me to try something and I'll try it. So one of the method that I was talking about that it reminded me of when I was doing this was that you can actually connect to the flame, shrink yourself to like a certain degree, go into the flame as if the flame is like this huge fire in front of you, and then
Yeah.
use the heat or your understanding of the flame to kind of rise up into the cosmos. And I've actually
Mhm.
been able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like go into the flame itself, utilize
Yeah.
the energy from the flame, and then arise into wherever it is you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you can use that to create the separation from yourself. So that's the method I was talking about. It sounds very
Interesting.
simple, but it's actually a lot of the things, I think, when people are doing chakra work in the very beginning, I think it's like there's one method where like you connect to your soul star chakra,
Yeah.
and for everybody it's kind of different, right? It's different, like between this much and like 2 feet or whatever, it's around there somewhere. So when you find that, one of the things you can do is move your consciousness from your mind through like this thin line of like this golden light into your soul star chakra, and then that soul star chakra, you can utilize that to expand your knowledge into like the like spirit, you know, the source or whatever. And so this is
Right.
kind of that same method, but utilizing it as that you would connect to the flame as opposed to the soul star chakra.
Mm. Okay.
So it's, you see what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah, I like that. And then you also had mentioned about working with Moloch, and I encourage people to go to your channel and watch the video on Moloch, because in that video you give a sigil on how to contact him and also a mantra.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, you spoke a little bit about sigils and saying that concerning sigils, they are not very strict, and that every entity has a sigil. Now, that's kind of a misconception in there, but can you just explain that why everybody does have a sigil, every entity?
Okay, so I'll go into this, and the thing that one of the things that I've noticed when a lot of people work with like certain entities, specifically La Santa Muerte, they will
Right.
say she doesn't have a sigil, right? I don't think those people understand what sigils actually are. So that's why I'll talk about it now. So
Yeah.
basically, what sigils are, like you can create a sigil for any situation or whatever. It is a way to, our subconscious mind doesn't speak in like sentences and things like that. It speaks in symbols. A sigil is a symbol that we can utilize in order to connect to that aspect of our subconscious mind, in order to connect to the entity that we're trying to work with. So it's like it's creating a gateway through our mind, subconscious, into the superconscious, into the, you know, the realm of wherever the spirit is, and they're giving you this sigil. So that's why we channel them in order to do that. And the mantras create those stopping points. So basically, what it is, the sigil is something you can look at and you can reach out to using your heart energy. And the mantra is something to like to kind of chill out that monkey mind chatter that's going on in your brain. That's what the mantras are for. So whenever they give you that energy, and it creates a certain energetic balance, right? Like a certain energetic structure in order for you to be able to connect. So it's not really that the entity has the sigil for them. The sigil is really for us. So we can connect to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to have all that. We're the ones who need that. So that's one of the things that I think is a misconception. A lot of people think, and I've heard it said a lot with Santa Muerte. They're like, "Oh, she doesn't have a sigil. She doesn't have that." Well, sure she can. Like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't she give us a sigil? I think it is a lot of just like closing off to a way to working with somebody. You know, that's like saying if you speak English and I speak English, but I want to use my hand gestures because I also know like ASL, American Sign Language. I'm just going to do this because that's what I believe is the best, whatever. But we could easily communicate speaking English to each other. You know what I'm saying? It's just another way of communicating that I'm actually cutting off that method of communication. So why am I going to do that? You know, that it never made any sense to me. So I think there's a lot of confusion as to what sigils actually are. And hopefully I cleared it up just now, you know?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and you made a very good point. Um, Now, going back to Moloch, you
Mhm.
said that Moloch has taught you how to unite your chakras,
Yes.
uh, taught you how to channel, and can really help you develop spiritually. Now, what would you say are some misconceptions of Moloch that are going around?
Uh, I think a lot of the stuff that comes about was whenever people used to worship Moloch a long time, like in the original, as in his original form, like when they had the statues of him, they would burn the sacrifices they would burn to him. I think a lot of people think that that's attributed to to Moloch. So a lot of people feel like kind of standoffish about that. Um, I think that is probably one of the biggest. That's the one I've heard. Misconceptions about Moloch. Honestly, when I hear certain things about different entities, I like to ask them myself because I want to have my personal perception of what it is like working with them. I think Moloch is fucking awesome. I mean, honestly, Moloch has been one of the entities, especially in the beginning when I was learning how to do certain key things in my practice, like
Yeah,
channeling and all that kind of shit. Basically, he was straight up like I would ask him how to do something, he would show me like almost immediately. It was like barely any like he would just like this is how you do this, this is how you do that. And uniting the chakras, he showed me that without me even knowing what the fuck he was showing me. You know what I'm saying? So he was like he use this sigil and spin it around your certain area, and I did that, and I just felt this energy like pull all my chakras into one energy center, and I was like, oh fuck yeah. I didn't like I'm saying I didn't even know what he was doing. So that's what I like about him. I mean, like Lucifer, when I work with Lucifer, he's like, he will make you fucking work for that shit. For me, he has. Like, I gotta
yeah,
like study like a motherfucker in order to learn things from Lucifer. And that's just the way he teaches. Moloch is like almost like that cool uncle. He's like, hey, bro, this is how you smoke mota. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that one guy. He's like, yeah, this is how you do this. You know what I'm saying? Whether if it fucks you up or makes you better, whatever. But hey, here it is, you know? So,
yeah.
yeah.
Right on, man. Right on. Now there are some people who have a hard time opening up their third eye or activating their third, excuse me, their third eye. Now, what would you say to some people who are having trouble?
So people who are having trouble activating their third eye, I would ask them, what is it exactly that they think is the opening your third eye is, because there's, like everything, there's different levels of your third eye. There are people who say just your imagination is your third eye. You know what I'm saying? It's like being able to envision things, and then
Yeah.
strengthening that will actually make it to where you can start seeing things later. I have never had success with this as far as like strengthening my third eye with that method. Everything that is like just focusing on my third eye chakra and trying to empower it in whatever forms. I've used a lot of different ways. I've used the heart chakra method where you bring up the energy and throw it into your third eye. It's supposed to open up your third eye, quote unquote, or whatever. And
Yeah.
my imagination is fine. I can envision things within my mind, fine. But as far as seeing things, which I think is what a lot of people mean whenever they say they want to open their third eye, like seeing spirits in front of you. Working
Yeah.
on my third eye has not really extensively has not done anything like that. Whenever I started seeing spirits, it's like other things that I do uh, that make enhance that. Honestly an overall spiritual practice that enhances vision when it comes to seeing spirits or entities or clouds of black smoke, like those whiffs of black smoke. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Flashes of light, orbs, and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
All that stuff is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't work on your third eye for that. That stuff kind of just starts happening as you become more spiritual of a being. So I would say work on things like your Kundalini, because it activates all those things. I would say utilize other energy centers and activate them all so they all work together. You know what I'm saying? Because even if your third eye is working, let's say if your eyes are working, it still has to go to your brain. It still has to, everything has to work together. So you can't just work
Right.
on one thing. And some people will have success with this sometimes, because that's the only thing that was missing in their practice was their third eye development. But other people may have something else that's blocking them. That's why they can't visualize spirits or see shadow people or whatever. Shadow
Yeah.
people I think are pretty easy to see, especially if you go to graveyards and stuff. So if you go there enough, you're going to start seeing shadow people, especially if you're
Yeah.
opened up to that kind of stuff. Um, but I would say just start opening up more spiritually. Remove fear from your practice. As far as if you're going in like, oh, I want to see this, but I don't want to see too much. If you go with that mentality,
Yeah.
basically you're stopping yourself already. You know what I'm saying? You can't go to a spirit and say, help me with this, and then tell them how to help you with this. Like say, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people do that. Like, I want you to help me see spirits, but I don't want to see too much. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna open up to them, you have to trust them. So this is when I would say develop devotion towards a certain spirit. If that's something that a fear is something that you work that is in somebody's life a lot, focus on a spirit. Let's say Lucifer or Moloch, and then you just work with them consistently until you develop a certain degree of trust, and then start working with the. Then you can open up other aspects of those energies in you to be able to trust in order to start developing those abilities.
Okay. Very well said. Um, Now, what can we expect from you in the near future?
Oh man, honestly, I don't know because every day is new. You know what I'm saying? I've been learning
Yeah.
some new cool shit. I've actually started having. I'm trying to grow my Patreon right now, so I'm actually creating content for my Patreon, and I will share some stuff on my YouTube channel with
Yeah.
the other information that is connected to my Patreon. So like, I just made a video actually not too long ago about breathing in the nameless and working with different types of like connected to energies outside of yourself. So breathing in as a concept of like experiencing something, and then giving your breathing out your impression of that something in order to connect with that something. And then I
Yeah.
utilize mantras and like a different method, and something I call the learner's mind that I actually got from NLP. So now I just kind of gave it away. So if you want to find out what that is, it's an NLP thing. It's an NLP trick. So that's something you can do. But I also I talk about a lot of cool shit on my Patreon. I cover NLP shit. I cover like advanced techniques, and then I got like some more basic techniques, for more basic people. And then I have like money, like different rights that I do, for Patreon members. So that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on that right now because I kind of like teaching, but I don't like um there's a lot of information that I feel that a lot of people aren't ready for. And I think
Right.
monetarily is a good way to filter that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you give out a bunch of free information, maybe people who shouldn't or aren't ready for it will get it. But if somebody's willing to pay like a couple of bucks a month, they're more set and more ready and more open to work with that information, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
I know it sounds, you know what I'm saying? It's like an energetic exchange instead of just trying to find the free shit. I went through that phase myself. When I first got into the occult, I always tried to find the free shit from the streets. I learned that if you can pay for it, you can get it for free too. You know what I'm saying? You just got to find the angle. You know what I'm talking about? So, but as I became more advanced, I learned that, you know, all that time you're wasting on trying to find the free shit, honestly, that's time you could be focused on real magic, real practices. So it became more conducive for me to spend that money. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have no problem with doing that kind of thing. So that's what I'm trying to create with this, as far as that goes. You know. Also, I like tacos. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, bro. You know, I like tacos and aguacate and shit. So I gotta buy that shit. You know.
Right on.
So
Good.
that,
Yeah.
and I got new rights. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good example.
Oh yeah. Also, I got newer rights. I got one that I have not put out yet. I have one called the Eternity Spell that I just put out, and I have one called the Powers of Hell that I'm working on still, but I'm gonna be putting out pretty soon as well. So
Okay.
I can explain those if you want, or if not, whatever.
Yeah,
You know?
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So the Eternity Spell is basically what I do, and I did this on myself a long time ago, and I've actually redone it since. You can use a certain amount of entities. Uh, like my cutoff limit is 3 because I don't have to summon a bunch of entities. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's basically what it is like every aspect of yourself that exists in different dimensions is incorporated into the spell, and so like all the energies from there, interdimensional cells of yourself, so that
Right.
some aspect of yourself is always working on the spell, and I give you a mantra that you can connect to that spell, so it's always growing. The spell is growing, hence always growing you, hence you always growing the spell. So it's like it's an eternity spell. You know what I'm saying? So it works together, and so you're always enhancing. The more you work with it, obviously, the more powerful it becomes. But it's just one mantra. There's no, I can't remember if I have a sigil on that. I think it's becomes situational with stuff like that. If spirits want me to give somebody a sigil, I will. If not, I won't. But that's basically the how the eternity spell works. I have more information on my website if you want to look into that. However, now the powers of hell, what I do is I summon forth your energy body, and I basically just open up all your chakras, clear them out, and I have a black sun that I create on top of you, and then I connect you to the powers of hell, and then so the energy runs through you. And that one, I've gotten some really good feedback from that one. I had somebody who like their telepathic abilities were enhanced. I had somebody who they couldn't talk for a little while afterwards because the energy was so powerful for them. I'm not saying this will happen to everybody. I'm not saying that everybody will develop telepathic abilities. Depends on where you're at. You can get it as many times as you want to. I've done it on myself, actually, and I had back pain for a really long time, and this helped me with my back pain. I think I covered that I made a video about it. So, but, and whatever else comes up. I mean, stuff's always, you know, like I said, I can never tell, but if I get something new, I'm definitely going to share it. Um, in the format that I explained, as far as a certain degree of information for free on YouTube with more in-depth information on the Patreon. If anybody, you know, if this a little bit of information is good for you, that's fine. If you want more, you know, you can get more.
Right.
So
Yeah, and for everybody watching, I will have all of Dysco's links below this video, so you can go ahead and click on those, check those out. Also, the Lawless Metaphysics, which Dysco is a part of. I encourage everybody to go to that channel, check that out. I'll have that link as well. Dysco, thank you very much for coming on and sharing that information. It's been a very good chat.
Thank you. I had a good time, man. The last time it was kind of choppy. It was hard to communicate. So I'm glad this time that seems to have been remedied. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to you directly. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Well, everybody watching, go ahead and like, subscribe to Dark Sorcery, and everyone have a good night.